Hello, this is your Cellar series for September. Description here. Welcome. It feels like it's turning to fall a little bit here on a cloudy day off Grand Avenue. And we are in transition in a lot of ways. Kind of moving out of some kind of fun, fresh light styles that we kind of don't think about too much, but consume a fair amount of in the summertime, and really kind of move into the more significant flavors, textures, components of fall drinking. As per usual, 20% off our wines here, and really some of our 6 favorite wines that we've had in the shop in the last month or so. September is back to school. It's kind of getting back into our rhythms, and so this is kind of par for the course with that. We really are kind of getting back to some basics here. I have a big birthday this month. I'm a Libra, and it's all about balance there. And with that, we've got 3 reds and 3 whites. We've got 2 wines each from California, California, France, and Italy. And it really is just a fun option on both ends of this spectrum here. So let's kind of jump into the white aspect of the tasting here. So we're going to start actually with a sparkling Albarino from a place called Carboniste. Carboniste is a husband-wife team out of California, and this particular wine is coming from a vineyard that's along the Sacramento River Delta. A very old Portuguese family has been farming this since the late 1800s, and Portugal has a fair amount of Alvarinho there as well, the same as Albarino in Spain. But this is 2020, very fresh champagne method sparkling wine from California. As with all Albarinos, there's this great blast of kind of ripe stone fruit aromatics, but it's also an extra brut, so it's finished quite dry, and it has that really like undeniable kind of champagne method quality to the bubble. It's very integrated. It's a really, really fun wine. He, the husband, worked for Schramsberg, and she, I don't know if she worked for Borkmead, but it seems like she's kind of worked all throughout California. But it's really fun to see husband-wife teams kind of coming up with a really, really distinct product like this. Really awesome label right here, and I get a little skeptical when I see awesome labels like this, especially with new wines, and I'm just always so hopeful that the quality of the wine is really as great as the packaging and the marketing, and in this case it absolutely is. So really, really lovely, fun, new California bubbles here. So small production as well, less than 2,000 cases made. Going to the Alto Adige, Italy's kind of mountainous zone. This is the German-speaking part of northern Italy. This is Cantina Terlano's Pinot Bianco. So this is kind of a mainstay for us in our Italian section. And I'm surprised that we haven't featured a Cantina Terlano wine yet in this series, but here we are. Terlano is a cooperative of growers, and cooperative is not a bad thing. I think of like the Produttori in Barbaresco, and I think of many other like great cooperatives around the world, and this is one of the truly one of the greats for still wines in Italy. So Pinot Bianco is arguably their most important wine. They make a couple different reserve level bottlings that are spectacular, I would highly suggest seeking out. But this is their kind of entry level Pinot Bianco. So 7 months on the lees in stainless steel, and Pinot Bianco brings this really lovely kind of chiseled quality to it. This kind of like white floral thing, this thing to the nose. It really is just. It's not Pinot Grigio, it's not Chardonnay, it's definitely not Sauvignon Blanc. Like, it just has its own kind of voice, but it's very alpine and very, very pretty. So moving to the very southwestern portion, the Basque region of France, actually. I think we more commonly associate the Basque region, with Spain, but in this case we're looking at a producer called Domaine Ilaria. So Ilaria is one of only a handful of like long-term domain bottlers. Like, this is co-op country. It's just all of these farmers who grow the grapes really don't have the resources to make, produce, market, and ship their wines. But this gentleman has really kind of, his name is Peyo Espil, has really kind of set out a while ago and had great success, I feel like, with his wines. this, as we're moving kind of in the spectrum here, as we always do, like really picks up texture and weight. So Ilari, I'll kind of just show you a little thing on the label there, but all biodynamic and organically farmed. This spans about 12 months and 700, like large 700-liter oak barrels. And the resulting wines, which are a blend of Petit Corbu and Petit Manseng, kind of the white grapes of the year that you really don't see anywhere else. The resulting wines are really kind of almost like Northern Rhone-like. They don't have these strong citrusy qualities. They have this more kind of golden spiced fruit quality. It is truly a wine for, I feel like, the curious, but also anybody who really likes high quality white wines. Like, this is it. I haven't tasted any older bottles of this, but it apparently ages like very, very well. So I'm excited about this one. Moving on from France to back to California, we are looking at Stoltman vineyards. So the Stoltman family, who are wonderful people, we had a chance to visit Stoltman. Both Mike and myself at different times visited Stoltman about 5 years ago now. They are north of Santa Barbara in this new appellation called the Ballard Canyon. There are other producers in there that we work with regularly called Beckman and a handful of others, but Stoltman does awesome stuff. And so there is this part of Stoltman that makes it really like down the fairway, I shouldn't say conventional, but just like classic wines. And then they're also like playing around a little bit. So this is their crunchy, roasty bottling. And what that is, it's a bit of a play on words with understanding the wines of the Côte-Rôtie region and the Northern Rhone region. So this is co-fermented carbonic maceration Syrah with a little bit of Viognier. So it's 95% Syrah, 5% Viognier. And like that's a pretty classic recipe for wines from the Northern Rhone, with that stem inclusion as well for the Syrah. It has this really wild aromatic quality to it. It is so pretty on the nose. It's light body, like it's the first red on the stop here. So it's just, this is your like kind of like ode to barbecuing, light, crisp, super refreshing. No sulfur added at bottling, which sometimes if you're not good at winemaking, your wines are gonna be shit. Like there's no way around it. But if you have high quality fruit, if you're good in the winery and you kind of skip that last step and you kind of consume these in due time, the wines are truly alive and it's super exciting. So Stoltman. Moving on to the southern part of Tuscany, we are looking at Agostina Piri, their Rosso di Montalcino. So this is kind of a important wine for this appellation. Rosso di Montalcino is definitely second fiddle to Brunello, but this producer is one of the only producers, I think it's the only producer that's ever won a Tre Bicchieri for their Rosso, which is quite noteworthy. They farm about 7 hectares of vines on classic like Gaiestro soil, which is this clay limestone mix, which makes Sangiovese really kind of do something special. It's aged 12 months in barrel, but it has this, for me, when I tasted this wine, and I've worked with this wine in the past, but why I kind of fell in love with this 18 is it is quite aromatic and very pretty. The Sangiovese, which always gives red fruit, is just offering up this awesome freshness to it. So I had remarked with kind of my close colleague Tom Gill, we taste a lot of wines together, that this winemaker seems like they went to Burgundy for a year or two and then came back and kind of changed their style a little bit. So very, very pretty Sangiovese here. So finishing up in Bordeaux, and this is our first Bordeaux, and that's kind of I shouldn't say wrong, but I'm just surprised we haven't done a Bordeaux yet. We've been doing this for a year and a half now, and Bordeaux is like the first or second chapter in any wine book. So this is Chateau Falfas, and Falfas makes this wine called Le Demoiselle de Falfas. This is their entry-level Bordeaux, but by no means is it kind of entry-level. This is all biodynamically farmed, a very small production here, and the best way for me to describe this and why was this the one Bordeaux that's made it in so far, is because of how alive, again, this wine really feels on the palate. The family came from the Loire, from the Saumur, and they're interpretation of the Merlot. It's mostly Merlot, and Cabernet here really has that very vivid, kind of lively quality to it. So many Bordeaux that we taste are kind of one note. They're kind of bogged down, and they don't really kind of lift out of the glass like this one does. It's very reminiscent of a producer called Chateau de Puy that we've worked with in the past. That's imported through Neil Rosenthal. And these wines kind of have this great organic fruit. They are vinified and aged in cement tanks. And as they come out of the bottle and into the glass, they are just this other kind of like energetic expression of Bordeaux. So really, really unique. So that is our lineup. I'm excited about them, as per usual. These will be available tomorrow afternoon and going into the rest of this month, hopefully. So thank you again. I just want to finish up by, I was just reading an article about the world has changed. We lost a member of the Rolling Stones, who to my good friend Joe Fitzpatrick is quite devastating. And I read this awesome quote, which just said, from Charlie Watts, that rock and roll has given more than it has taken. And I hope that these wines, kind of give you kind of more than it takes to acquire them. They are certainly giving wines, generous in many ways. I hope you enjoy. Thanks again.